You are definitely the best storyteller there is. I always used to believe that all the great authors that I used to read, like Stephen King or Agatha Christie, they had some secret talent because they came up with stories that I could possibly never come up with. But what I've come to see in recent years is that in all of us, and that includes you, there is a very good storyteller, and that is your mind. Because your mind is constantly telling you stories. Just think about this very moment. If you listen closely, I'm convinced that there is a conversation happening in your mind. And more often than not, it's a conversation that takes place in an imaginary past or an imaginary future. And the reason that I use imaginary is that sometimes we don't really remember the past the way it has been. And very often it's a regretful memory or it's something that makes us sad. And when we think about the future, none of us has a way of knowing what is going to happen in the future. It doesn't matter how far in the future that is, whether it's 5 minutes or 5 years from now. It's all just a made-up story. But the problem with this is that we so easily give in to that conversation. We so easily let it influence our mood or even the day ahead. Before I had this recognition, I remember that usually I would wake up in the morning, and before the mind started actively thinking, I felt really excited about the day ahead. I felt excited about the opportunities that would come. But moments later, the mind would kick in and suddenly it was all stories of doom and gloom. It would be stories of all the unfinished work ahead, of difficult conversations, catastrophic stories of deadlines, of projects that I couldn't possibly finish, and questions of my own worthiness, doubts, bad feelings. Isn't this fascinating? We wake up and we get to experience this wonderful life. The fact that we live on a planet in an endlessly big universe, yet what our mind does is give us doubts about the day ahead. It makes us doubtful about our own careers and about our own beingness. And in my own experience, and maybe that's an experience that you can share as well, the only way to get out of this moment when you're too much in your head, when you're too much listening to that inner monologue, is not by trying to push it away, because the harder you push it away, the harder this will bounce right back at you. But the only thing you can do is to accept that these thoughts happen, be fully present in this very moment, accept it as the only reality you have, and do not identify yourself with your thoughts, because you are not your thoughts. And it took me years to understand this sentence. I could never quite make sense of what that meant, to not identify yourself with the thoughts and to accept that you are not your thoughts. I'm not actively thinking these thoughts because it's not by decision that they pop up. I don't really care how that happens, to be honest, because I don't need to understand that process. But what I know is that they aren't always telling me the truth. Quite on the contrary, if I give in to my thoughts too much, then it will be a problem, because then I will just feel bad about everything, about myself, about life, about my work. I will regret decisions that I made. I will wish that things would be different than they are right this very moment. And yet I will also realize that I will feel powerless about all of this, because it will make me feel really small in this universe. It will make me feel like there's nothing that I can do about it. And then maybe there is nothing that I can do about it, except for the fact that I don't have to listen to my thoughts. I do not have to give in to this constant inner monologue that is playing. I don't have to travel with my thoughts, neither to the past nor to the future, which both are so imaginary. I can just accept that this very moment is as is. And once I do that, it also feels like most of my problems simply disappear. But that doesn't mean that actual problems magically disappear. If you have problems paying your rent, or if you're about to get laid off, these problems do not disappear. But what that focus on the present moment does, it gives you the clarity that you need to take a next step. It gives you the clarity to move on. And it makes sure that you are not actually stuck in ruminating about the future. The best way to achieve that is by starting to observe your own thinking. So whenever thoughts pop up, just take a step back and remember your thoughts are like a cloud on a blue sky. They appear and they disappear. And you yourself, you're not the thoughts. You are the blue sky on which those clouds appear and disappear. So don't take them seriously. Find some peace of mind if you can, because living with more joy and living with a sense of relief, it's really worth it all. If you struggle with this, just pop in a comment or contact me by email. It's all in the description. I'd be really happy to hear from you either way. And I thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you soon again. Thank you.